My name is Achenyo Idachaba. I'm the founder and creative director of Mitimeth. Mitimeth is a social enterprise, and we're focused on transforming waste, in this case invasive aquatic weeds, into beneficial products and empowering communities in the process of doing so. Mitimeth, being a social enterprise, we do have an environmental and economic focus. And essentially what we are doing is looking at, an environmental problem, an environmental menace actually, that's very prevalent in Nigeria, and looking at the communities that are impacted the most by the infestation of invasive aquatic weeds. In our particular case, we are focused right now at the moment on water hyacinth. And water hyacinth has been a problem in Nigeria since the mid-80s. And what we're looking at from an organizational perspective is, what can we do to actually, convert this weed into a useful product, a valuable product, and in the process of doing so, actually affect positively the communities that, are surrounded by the invasive aquatic weeds. And what we do is we actually partner with organizations, not-for-profits or NGOs, in hosting workshops, training workshops for these communities to learn how they can actually take this resource that's in abundance in their communities and transform it into sellable products. Well, to date, we're happy to say that we have trained approximately 8 communities in the Southwest and the Niger Delta. So we've trained in Lagos. Most recently, we partnered with Enactus, which is a student-run organization. I guess it was formerly known as Students in Free Enterprise, but it's now known as Enactus. We partnered with Enactus at University of Lagos to host a workshop to train people in Makoko, which is a neighboring community of the university. So we trained approximately 20 youth and women on how they could take this weed, which is known by various names, beburo and whatnot, to actually take this weed, which they thought had absolutely no value. They thought it was a nuisance, which it is, but had zero value to them, and demonstrate to them through the training sessions that it actually has value. You can actually convert this weed you're seeing on the waterways into this, a coaster that you can use to, on your dining table and what have you. So we've done that in Lagos. We also partnered with WITS, an NGO, to train communities in Owawa and Esaba in Delta State. And then we also partnered with Face Initiative in Bayelsa. So we worked in Ogbia local government area, and we actually trained 5 communities there. So we had about 40 women that we trained on how to, again, convert this weed that's so prevalent in the environment into useful products.
My name is Lawrence Jimo. I'm Research Associate of Mitimeth, and my main work and responsibility is to ensure that we come up with more resourceful and innovative ways to add value to water hyacinth in terms of training, in terms of providing relevant advice, and in terms of empowerment to the communities which we go for our training for. Basically, the most exciting one that I would like to mention, which is the one we just concluded, is the biogas experiment. We found that water hyacinth emits methane during its life cycle. And so we generate what we call shafts and cuttings from our work. And we try to practice zero waste. So we want to find out what more ways we can use this shaft that will be more beneficial to us. So we collected this shaft and designed a simple biodigester from a waste material as well, which is the water heater that people use in their houses. So when it's bad and it's condemned and all that. So we designed a small biodigester using that and feed it with our water hyacinth And we experimented with water hyacinth mixed with cow dung, and then just cow dung. We found out that the water hyacinth in the cow dung was much more effective in production of biogas, and we know that energy demands in these rural communities that water hyacinth are really, really very common. You know, they have energy challenge. So we know that this can be of more beneficial use to them, that they are able to, you know, come up with this creative product and sell, and also they are able to get energy for their cooking needs at home.
Essentially what we do is we harvest the weeds from the waterways, and we're doing it manually. Again, let's just think of the communities that we're operating within, or the communities that are affected the most by this weed. These are riverine communities. They depend on the waterways for their livelihoods, for transportation, fishing. So the communities are very familiar with the waterways. So for them, it's very easy for them to get on the waterways, get in their canoes, head out into the waterways, and actually pull the weeds from the water. So we essentially harvest it from the waterways manually. So at zero cost, we say to the community, just a bit of expended effort. And once it's harvested, we actually, you know, bring it to shore. And then, you know, we detach, we make use of the stolons for the most part. And then we dry it naturally. And then once we've dried the product naturally, we then go into the transformation process. I tell folks it's not a capital intensive process. It's labor intensive, but I say, you know, we've been blessed with the population and the hands to actually embark upon this effort. So very labor intensive, but the process I think is pretty straightforward. You know, you do have to be a bit disciplined in terms of ensuring that you don't skip steps and that you wait out certain periods of time for the material to dry the way it ought to be dried before you transform it. And essentially that's how it starts. So we take it from there, and then we now weave the dried weeds into ropes. So we convert it into different styles. What you're seeing here is one of the styles that we have, but there are different types of ropes that we can actually transform the weeds into. And then we work on combining with different materials to come up with the various products that we have.
This is a tissue box, and we have the base and then the top that will come on it. So we we make our measurement, and then we use a straw board as the raw materials, one of the materials that we use. Then we use fabric, this cloth that is on it. Then after we make our measurement, we do the cutting. After the cutting, we'll now use OCI gum. We apply on one surface first, then we use the fabric to cover it. After that has been done, then we trim it with the scissors. Then after that, we'll take another surface, apply the OCI gum, then we'll wrap it with the fabric as well. Then this one be done. Then after we put the fabric, then at both sides, now use super glue to glue the edges, and it will give us this shape. All right. So this one, as you can see, the inside is also, we use Macintosh. The Macintosh we use, we apply the OCI gum as well, and then we fold it. Then when we fold it from outside, we'll now use this rope. This is our rope. This is the rope we use from water hyacinth. So we use the rope to wrap it round. Then after that, the thing is looking shiny. So we apply our finishing on the something to make it look good, on the tissue box to make it look good. So we normally use sanding sealer and then the high glossy to make it look good and fine.
Safety for us is really, really very, very essential because we want to ensure that the artisans are protected, and we want to also ensure that what we are getting from our work, it's really the best. So what we do is we enlighten our artisans via training. We talk to them about safety training. We provide protective equipment like hand glove, nose mask, and coveralls, and other materials that we know that they need based on the routine work that they carry. And so this training helps them to always put in their best in whatever they are doing. And also, we usually have safety briefings after work where we talk about best practices that have been learned, and it's every day at the workshop. So the workshop people gather themselves and they facilitate these trainings amongst them, and they fill in a report for us, which we're able to monitor their progress and their challenges. And then at the end of the month, we look for the best way that we can come in to help improve them. The whole essence is once we have healthy workers that are working safely, then we as well can also be proud that our products are made by healthy people and they are protected and they are not, using any harmful materials in any way.
One of the things that we have decided as an organization is to work with artists. So we work with sculptors, people that are carvers, and say, okay, you know what, we have this particular material that we work with, be it bamboo, and for the most part, we tend to focus mostly on natural, non-timber resources. So, if we have somebody that's a carver, it's like, okay, why don't we work on sort of enhancing this piece of work and then combining it with the water hyacinth that we, are experts in transforming. And with that, we've come up with different types of products. But essentially working with, people that are very talented in different areas that we aren't, and seeing how we can combine our different materials together to come up with a very unique story.
The products are really, really, will I say, first class, and we're not saying that we're resting on our oars. It's always an improvement process. If you look at some of the work we have, some of them are just being tweaked a little bit at every time, just to ensure that we give the best value to the customer. So in terms of their exportability, certainly they are, because quality materials and quality crafts go into these products. Sometimes we have to work with engineers amongst ourselves and from different fields in order for us to get the best. And we think the best is good for the world, so it's exportable.
Watch your favorite Heart of the Matter episodes online at www.theheartofthematter.tv. Also, check out exciting behind-the-scenes photos. Leave your comments and like us on Facebook.
So Mitimeth is here at the Technology Incubation Center. We're being incubated here. And of course, we say a big thank you to the University of Ibadan Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. That is how we found out about the Technology Incubation Center and applied to be incubated here. And thankfully, the TIC management saw that we were doing something worthwhile. And starting December of 2013, we became incubatees at the TIC. So our workshop here is a facility that we have been given for a period of 3 years, for which we're going to make optimal use of and hopefully take Mitimeth to the next level. What he's doing right now is actually transforming the dried water hyacinth into rope. So as you can see here, he's busy weaving this into one of the types of ropes that we use in our finished products. We also have Freedom right next to him, who's working on making some tissue boxes. And he's working on the trays right now. And then we have Folake here working on some dining wear. She is putting finishing touches to some of our trivets. And as you can see here, the front part of our trivet is actually water hyacinth, and the back is actually our local fabric here. So, you know, it's a double-sided trivet. You may choose to use this side one day, and the next day you might choose to use this other side. But anyway, we pride ourselves in 100% local content. If we move down here, just to highlight some of our products, we have this planter here, which can be used to house potted plants. It's actually made from the flat form of water hyacinth. What we have here is a metal frame, and we have sort of designed the metal frame with the water hyacinth. You can use this as a planter, or you can also use this as a coffee table, a side table. So all we'll need to do is just put a cover on this, and you've transformed your planter into a side table. Some of our latest creations are actually right here, where we have this ottoman. We call this akpete. So we have local names for our product. So this is an akpete. And of course, we have the local fabric as the cushion. And interestingly, what we have here for the body is not water hyacinth. This is another form of agro waste. These are actually corn husks that we've transformed into these patterns that we've used to design this stool. So for us, there's nothing that does not have value. So here we are, you know, thankful for the corn season, and we're utilizing the waste from the corn season. And then we also have right below it a bench that is, or a stool of sorts, which is made from bamboo, which is also locally sourced, combined with water hyacinth on the feet. And then we have our local fabric, which is covering the cushion. What we have right before me here, we have our dining ware. So we have coasters and trivets. We're just waiting for finishing touches to be put on this before we actually ship them out to the customers. And then we have some of our frames, which are still in the initial stages that we haven't put material on yet. We do experiment with combining water hyacinth corn husks with different types of natural fibers. So here we have water hyacinth combined with rattan, or cane, as it is popularly known. Here are some of our prototypes for our tissue boxes that we have here. And then different types of baskets, as well as bamboo frames that we have made here in our workshop. And this is one of my favorites here when we talk about reusing waste. We just had a quiz earlier on. This is actually repurposed tire. So we have an old tire here that we have adorned with water hyacinth. Again, the pattern that you see on here is a different pattern from what Moses was weaving earlier on. So what we've done is sort of repurpose, redesign an old used tire. And essentially what you have here is an ottoman. You can actually store stuff inside, or you can use this as a side table. So again, telling the whole story about recovery, waste utilization, waste upcycling. I think Mitimeth embodies all of what I've just said. I think the product in itself tells a story, and everybody wants to be part of a beautiful story. So even though it's labor intensive, at the end of the day, an individual who has been part of the creative process is thrilled to see what the end product is, and to realize, my goodness, you know what, I did this with the work of my hands. So I think it goes beyond the thought of, this thing is going to take me, 20 hours to make, or 15 hours, or 8 hours, or however long it is, to realize, my goodness, at the end of the day, I'm going to come up with a product that, I can proudly say I contributed to this particular item. So we've been blessed in the sense that the people that have worked, that are currently working for us, see that. So they see beyond just, you know, whatever it is that they're going to make from an economic standpoint to, we're part of, you know, creating this very beautiful story. And it's the same thing within the communities as well. First and foremost, the story is, we're taking this thing from the water that nobody thought had any useful value. And now we're creating these amazing products. And we've had, you know, really good experiences with the communities that we've worked with. I tell people, we go out there to show people, you know, that things can be done differently, or they can view things in a different light. We aren't necessarily going to tell you, you know, you're going to make a box or a garbage can or a bangle. We can show you the process, but at the end of the day, I think we're all creative beings. And once you equip people with the basic tools, that's all it takes for somebody to run with. And the women that we trained in all be a perfect example. All we did was equip them with the basic skills as to how to transform this weed. We made a few products, showcased some of those. By the time we went back for a follow-up visit, they had come up with products that we had not even thought of. And to show you the appreciation, I mean, people marveled at what these women came up with. And ordinarily, you know, based on our stereotypes, we might think, you know, there's no way, you know, that people would come up with this in the rural areas. But truly amazing stuff came out of that. And one of the success stories as a result of this is that just this past July, Bayelsa held their first investment economic forum, and the women showcased their products under the FACE initiative, which was our hosting partner, showcased their products at this forum. And again, people were intrigued that what? This stuff that we've been clearing and throwing away, etc., you people are making products out of this. And that, in essence, is what Mitimeth is all about. It's like, okay, you know what? We're teaching people to, you know, we say we're not feeding you for a day, but we're teaching you how to fish for life by equipping you with skills to actually transform what is readily available within your immediate environment to create an alternative livelihood or alternate livelihood for yourselves. I say we're just climbing out of the startup phase into the growth phase for us. Financially for us, you know, we're hoping that within the next few months we will get there. But the future looks good, so there's great potential for the organization to grow. We provide training services as well as we make products. So we have 2 revenue streams for the organization. And then if we look at, you know, the people that we have trained, they're already selling stuff. We are telling them we'll provide you with a distribution platform. We're out on Facebook. We have the website. So we will provide a distribution platform for you as long as you make products that are up to spec and meet our standards. So that option is available to all our trainees. And what we're in the process of doing right now is sort of bringing them up to speed to that point where we can say, okay, yes, your products are ready for our distribution platforms. We actually just started in earnest our training at the beginning of this year. So we're hoping that, you know, by 2015, we would have integrated a number of our trainees into our supply chain. We really have been blessed in terms of, you know, when you think of, seed capital required to start an organization. For me, you know, the organization started from ground zero. It was an idea that evolved after a lot of thought and research. I tell people it's not novel. You know, making handicrafts from water hyacinth or any other natural fiber is not necessarily novel. But it is to a large degree novel in Nigeria, and I think the approach that we have also taken is also novel in that we're not just looking at, you know, selling products, but we're looking at empowering communities to sell the products as well. So in that sense, I think we have a very unique and inclusive business model. We're grateful that, you know, people have seen what we're doing and appreciate what we're doing as well. We have been recipients of the UN Women Award, so that infusion of cash has certainly helped us and is currently helping us, as well as family. You know, couldn't have done this without the support of family. So a lot of personal investment as well as investment from my family. So very, very grateful for that, as well as, you know, the organizations that I've mentioned. We really have been fortunate in the sense that we've gotten a lot of exposure from WIMBIZ that I'm a part of, to most recently being one of the finalists for the Cartier Women's Initiative Awards. So that in itself is, you know, putting us out there, both domestically as well as globally. And I think, you know, if we manage this process well, it certainly will position us for, you know, growth and good financial returns in the future. Our goal really is to cut across all the states in terms of reaching out and empowering many communities within those states and establishing cottage industries. We really see this not just as being, you know, products for Nigeria, but it's a product that has great export potential. So we want to see communities exporting products. And the way we can do that is by partnering with organizations. Again, if you look at the beneficiaries of the training, they can't necessarily afford to pay for the training. So what we do is we partner with NGOs, partner with embassies to actually subsidize the training for the recipients in these rural communities. So we're looking for more of such partnerships, either individual, corporate, public, private, you know, the whole gamut. At the end of the day, our goal is to reach out to as many communities as we can within the 20 or more states in Nigeria that are impacted the most. And hopefully by 2016 latest, we'll be able to say, yes, this is sitting on the stores, you know, not only in Nigeria, but outside Nigeria as well.